Guys, in this video, we are going to be building this contact form using Tailwind CSS Forms plugin in React. We are also going to implement validations on this form. So each and every field on this form is going to be required to be able to submit this form. And we are going to be designing this layout from scratch. Now, before we start coding, please do subscribe to the channel. Now let's go to Visual Studio Code and start building this project from scratch. So guys, I have a new React Vite application here. And before we start building this project, we are going to install Tailwind CSS in this project. So I have a documentation of Tailwind CSS here. I'm going to be leaving a link in the description. To install Tailwind CSS, I'm just going to copy this npm install command and install Tailwind CSS in my terminal. So now Tailwind CSS has been installed in this project. To set up a Tailwind CSS, I'll just go to Vite config and we are going to import Tailwind CSS by using this import command from the documentation. So I'm just going to copy this import command and import Tailwind CSS into my project. And once we have imported the Tailwind CSS, we are going to include it here in the plugins by doing something like this. So that's all we need to set up a Tailwind CSS in this project. And the next thing that we need to install here is Tailwind CSS Forms plugin that we are going to be using to design this form. So I have a documentation of Tailwind CSS Forms plugin here. I'm just going to be leaving this link again in the description. So I'll just copy this npm install command and install Tailwind CSS Forms into this project. So after we have set up a Tailwind CSS and Tailwind CSS Forms, we have to go to index.css, and here I'm just going to remove all my default CSS that is coming in the project, and I'm going to import Tailwind CSS here at the top. So that's how we have to import Tailwind CSS, otherwise our CSS classes are not going to work. And to import the Tailwind CSS Forms, we are going to be using a plugin keyword just like that, and we are going to be importing Tailwind CSS Forms into our project. Because initially we are not going to be using Tailwind CSS form, I'm just going to comment it. I'll come back later and uncomment it when I'm going to use it in the application. So now everything is ready and we can run npm install here in the terminal. And now we are going to run this application by using npm run dev. So our default application is ready now. We are going to go to app.jsx and that's where we are going to be designing the form. So I'm just going to close this window here and let's remove all the default code that is here. And in place of this, we are going to be designing a contact form. Let's change this into a div tag. So now our application is ready to start building this form. So now to start building this form, I'm just going to start a new form tag here. And inside this form tag, we are going to have some more tags. And the first tag is going to be the h1 tag, which is just going to say a heading that is contact form. And this contact form is basically going to have three fields: name, email, and a message. To build a first field, we are going to need a label tag here. And this label is going to say a name. And this name is basically going to be an input tag, which is going to be self-closing tag, and it's going to be a text type input. So we got a basic label here that says name, and we got somewhere a input tag here. And to this label, we can say this label is going to be assigned to a name input, and here we are going to say name is going to be name, and ID is also going to be name. So every input is basically going to need all these fields like name and ID. So that's our first input field, which is not very visible here because that's how the default HTML text field is. But we are going to improve the layout soon. First thing we can do here is we can do very basic styling on the form here. So here we can assign a class name flex column because we want everything to be coming in the column like that. So we just got a first field name, which is having a input text field, which is looking not very good, but we are going to come back and improve it. And same way, I'm just going to copy this field and paste it second time, and this time it's going to be email, and this is going to be assigned to the email, and name is going to be email, ID is also going to be email. So we got two fields now, and the third field that we are going to need is a message. So let's copy that again, and this is going to be message, and we are going to change everything to message, but this time it's going to be a text area field. So text area field looks something like this, where you can expand the rows and stuff. But on this text area field, we can assign a default rows are going to be 4. So there are going to be at least 4 rows here, and the label also have to be changed to message. So we got 3 fields: name, email, and message. And the last thing that we are going to need in this form is going to be a submit button. So I'm just going to add a button here, and button is going to say submit. So now the very basic HTML is ready for the form, and we are going to go back to our index.css. If you remember, we have commented this plugin that is Tailwind CSS forms. Let's uncomment this and bring it back into the project. So you can see that as soon as I bring it back and save it, it has automatically improved the styling of the input fields. We still have to write some Tailwind CSS to improve it, but that's kind of like 30% of the job done to improve the input fields just by importing this plugin into the project. So it is definitely helping us save some time here. Now we can go back to app.jsx. So here on the main div tag, we can say, we can add some class name here, and we can say this is going to be flex, and we are going to justify everything to center. We are also going to assign a width of the form to medium, and I can see that this is not working as per my CSS. So I'll just go back and open my app.css and remove all the default CSS that comes with the React Vite template project. So I'm just going to remove it. So once I remove it, I can go back to my app.jsx. Actually, this width I should be putting on the form, not on the main wrapper div. So I'm just going to move it here, and this is going to fix our layout. So this is a flex and everything is centered on the page. And if we want to center it vertically, we can also say height is going to be screen and items are going to be center. This is going to bring it vertically also in the center. And we can also give a little bit of gap between name, email and message. So here I can say gap is going to be 2. So this is already bringing the form in a very good shape, but we are going to need some more CSS here. So we have 3 labels in this project. So on every label, I'm just going to assign a class name, and I'm just going to change the text to gray. This is going to be 500. So gray is going to look better. Let's make it 700. And we can also say font is going to be medium. So this is going to make a label a little bit bold. I'm happy with this class name on the label, so I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it on all the labels. So the second label is email and the third label is message. So that's how our labels look like. And on the text fields, I'm just going to make some improvements here. On the input field, I'm going to put a class name, and I'm just going to say this is going to have a border which is going to be rounded at medium size. So what this class name is going to do is it's going to add some border radius here, which is going to look nicer than having the square text field. So let's copy that and put it on all our input fields. And that's the second one, and that's the third one is text area. So we have made the rounded borders on all of them, and the button finally is going to have a class name. Let's give it a background color of indigo. This is going to be 600, and padding X is going to be 2. Padding Y is going to be 4, and we can also give it a rounded border if we want. So let's give it border rounded medium. Border is also, let's make it indigo 700. So that's how the button is going to look like, and we are going to, let's change the text as well, and the text is going to be white, which is better. Maybe we can reduce the padding to 3 is looking better. So now that's how the button is going to look like. And if we want to further improve the button, we can also put a hover property here, and we can say that when someone is going to hover over it, background is going to go indigo 700. So now there is a little hover effect here on the button. We will go to the main div tag that is here. To the main div tag, we are going to assign a background color, which is going to be gray 100, and the form is going to be having a background color of white. And let's give it a shadow. Shadow is going to be large on the form. So we are putting a shadow on the form tag here, and we are going to give it a padding of 4. Let's make it padding as 8, and let's again give it a border, and let's make it rounded medium, and border is going to be white. Last thing we have to do is increase the size of this contact form. So on this h1 tag, we are going to say class name, text is going to be medium. We can say text is going to be large and font is going to be medium. We can also make the text as XL to make it bigger. It can also be 2XL. So that's how our contact form is looking right now. But as you can see, we don't have any functions here. We have no JavaScript functionality to be able to submit this form, and that's what we are going to add in the next step. So now to save all the information that user is going to type here, we are going to need a state here, and the state is going to be form data, and we are going to say set form data, and this is going to be use state. Let's make it like an object, and this object is going to have initial values. Name is going to be empty, email is also going to be empty, and message is also going to be empty. So that's our initial values of the form data. Now we have to assign these values on all the input tags here, because these are the initial values. So here on the first input tag, we are going to say value is going to be form data dot name, because that's a name field, and on the email it's going to be form data dot email, and on the text area it's going to be form data dot message. So we defined the initial state for all the three fields, and we assigned all the values here on all the input tags. So next thing we are going to need is we are going to need a on change function here. On change, we are going to be calling a function that is handle change. As of now, we don't have this function, so it's going to throw an error, but we are going to put a function everywhere. On the name, on the email, on change is going to be handle change, and on the message, again on change is going to be handle change. So we got this function everywhere. Now it's time to define this function here. So we are going to say handle change, and on handle change we need to set form data. Basically we are going to be receiving an event from the handle change, and we are going to extract two things from this event. One is going to be the name and a value, which is going to be event.target. So basically we want to access the name and value. The name is the name of the field from where the event is firing, and the value is of course the value that user is going to type. And we are going to change our form data to whatever the previous value was. So it's going to be having all the previous fields, and the only field that we are going to be changing is the field from where the event is going to be fired. So that is going to be accessing the name, and name is going to be assigned a value. So that's how we are going to change the form data. Now if I try typing something, I'm able to type here in the form, I'm able to type a message. Now everything, whatever I'm typing, should be saved in the form data here. And the last function that we are going to need is the handle submit function. So I'll just go to the button here, submit button, and here we are going to say this is going to be an on click function. When somebody is going to be clicking on this button, we are going to say handle submit, and we are going to define the handle submit function here. So handle submit, initially it's going to be very simple. We are going to say console log form submitted, and we are going to log the form data. So now if we are going to test our form, I'm just going to inspect my console here, and here in the console I'm just going to clear everything and type something here. Let's type abc at Gmail, and some message we are going to type here and submit the form. And when we submit the form, we can see that I'm not able to see anything here in my console. So we are going to make some change here in handle submit. I'm just going to receive my event here, and I'm just going to say event.prevent default. We don't want any default behavior from the browser when we click on the submit. So let's type again, and let's type a message abc, and now we are going to submit. And now we can see here in the console we have form data here. As of now I can submit this form even without a name, because let's say I do not enter a name here and I try to submit this, it's submitting with a blank name, because in the handle submit function we don't have any validations. So we are going to add some validations here in the next step. So basically we are going to be making all the fields as required fields, so user cannot submit this form with a blank values here. To do that, I'm just going to create a state variable here which is going to log all the errors. So let's create a variable that is going to say errors and set errors, and this is going to be an empty object because initially we are not going to have any errors, and we are going to check for all the errors in the handle submit function. And here I can say that if my form data dot name dot exist, I have to record this error that name do not exist. So basically I'm just going to create a variable here which is going to be new errors, and every time user tries to submit this form, the initial value is going to be empty, and if the name is not there, then we are going to say new errors dot name is going to be whatever error we want to display, and that is going to be name is required. So that's the error we are going to display if name is not there. And same way I'm just going to copy this and put it here. If email is not there, then we are going to say new errors dot email, and we are going to say email is required. Same way we can say if form data dot message is not there, we can assign new new errors.message, and we can say message is required. Now basically on submit, first thing we do is check if all the fields are there. If not, we are going to say new errors.name. If name is missing, is going to be name is required, email is required. So here I'm just going to say if my new errors, after checking all this, we actually want to count if there are any errors. So I'm just going to say object.keys. Basically I'm just going to turn this object into array. If there are any errors, dot length is not equal to 0, which means there are errors. I'm just going to set my errors to new errors. And if everything is okay, then we are going to say else. We are going to submit this form as usual. And this part, event.prevent default, is going to go here at the top. So that's how our handle submit function is going to look like. So it's going to check for the errors and it's going to count the number of errors. If the length of errors is not equal to 0, then it's going to set the errors to new errors. Otherwise, it's going to submit the form. So now if I try to submit the form, let's say I enter the name, leave other fields blank. If I submit this, nothing is going to happen. But if I enter everything here and then click on submit, I'm able to submit my form. So if I leave any field blank, nothing is happening. So I'm not able to submit this form. But the point is, we also need to display the errors here. So after every input field, for example, name, email, and message, I'm just going to display my errors in the HTML. Here in the name field, after the input, I'm just going to say errors.name. If there is a name error, then we are going to say we are going to return a p tag, and in this p tag we are going to return errors.name, and let's style it as well. So this p tag is going to have a style, and we can say this is going to be color red. So let's try that. So if I submit this form without a name, this is going to say name is required, but it's not saying message is required. So we have to copy this and put it after email, but here it's going to display errors.email, and in the p tag errors.email. So same way I can copy this, put it after the message, and this is going to display errors.message, and here in the p tag it's going to be errors.message. So now if I refresh my entire form and if I try to submit it without submitting any fields, it's going to display all the errors. But if I put a name, try to submit it, now the name error is gone. If I try to put an email, now the email error is gone. If I try to use message, now my form is submitted. So this form component is working fine now. It's having all the validations, design is looking good, we have a card around it. So guys, that's all I wanted to cover in this video. If you found a value in this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.